Once upon a time, New York, they thought belonged to the Italians.
I wish it's a good game, nice game, against Italy win. Because the Irish never win against Italy, you know that.
And then, once upon a time, New York belonged to the Irish.
Italy are shaky at the moment, they don't know where they're going. I think we've got them at a good time now.
So between Italy and Ireland, they owned East Rutherford, New Jersey on that particular day. And the thing was, very seldom on an outdoor venue is there an ambience of an indoor venue. And there was that day in the Giants Stadium. The place was lifting. Either side were ready to explode. Not in any bad way. There was good banter.
First of all, when we went out for the warm-up, we were shocked, to say the least, with the amount of Irish support that was there, and they were there and early.
The thing I remember most about the Giants Stadium was that in the press box before the game, it was, you can imagine, fellas appeared from nowhere, fellas who had never been at football games. And Conor O'Cleary, whom I worked with in the Irish Times, he came sitting beside me, and at one point he said, what does one do in these situations? Do you show your colours and do you cheer, or do you keep quiet and whatever? And I said, oh, you certainly don't show your colours, you just sit there, and even if you feel like cheering, you kind of suppress it.
The Irish team were a little bit late coming out, as were the Italians, and remember the kick-off was supposed to be at the appointed time, and at kick-off time there was no sign of the teams, and eventually we came out a couple of minutes past the kick-off time. Only found out afterwards we'd arrived in the wrong gear, and the two teams were lining up in the bowels of the Giant Stadium.
All of a sudden the Italian officials came out and said, blah, 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 blah. They started screaming and shouting about, you wearing white, you get in there and change your gear. So they changed all we went back into the dressing room, changed it all into the green gear, which again on the day I suppose was appropriate because, green being our colour, and we went out and decided, let's play in the green and do it proud.
So that took the pressure off us because we had to get in there and change. Normally it takes you sort of 20 minutes, half an hour to get yourself organised. That was a 2-minute job. And that took the pressure off from a mental point of view. So we didn't have to worry, we were just rushing to get out there.
It's Ireland playing right to left.
Jack was always afraid about being caught at the back, and that's why he felt 5 across the middle would stop the chances of the back four being exposed. So he took a chance, put Tommy Coyne on his own up front, and put 5 across the middle, and it did work. It worked in that match beautifully. I would say that was his finest hour.
And in goes Roberto Baggio. McGrath's head got there. Dino Baggio once more. Again it's McGrath.
I remember being very worried because I had a shoulder problem, a virus that was eating away in my shoulder. So I was very, very worried because I know I'd played against Signori before, I'd played against Baggio before, and I knew that if ever there was a day that I didn't really want to play against him, it was that day.
Paul was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Everything that came his way, every player who came his way, couldn't get past him. And when you consider that he wasn't even fully fit, it was an extraordinary performance.
Baggio on for Signori. It's Signori against McGrath. And McGrath got there ahead of him.
I remember that ball was played down the middle early on in the game, and I had to chase Signori, and it took me about 4 strides to actually get into my proper running stride because I had to drag this thing behind me. And I knew he was beating me, and he'd started, mind you, 7 yards behind me. So I was thinking, oh my God, I can hear him, I can hear him, I can hear him. And eventually he's about here, and the only thing I can think of is I've got to launch myself in the air and just land as near to the ball as I can, and if I can get my foot to it, it'll go back to Packy, and if I miss, this little guy's going to run and he's going to score the first goal. So I was run, then I just jumped in the air, landed on the ground, and by about 1.5 inches or something, I just clipped the ball. And blessed when I saw it running back to Packy, because then I thought, oh my God, I've just about done it.
McGrath, a colossus would be an understatement. I mean, no matter which of the strikers he had to look after, he just reduced them to anonymity, really.
That was a very old Irish team in football terms. The average age of that Irish team was 29, and 8 of them were over 27.5 years of age. So very young. Only Keane and Babb, who was 23, brought down the age. And then there was Houghton, who was about 30 at that time. Given a choice, he was a right footer. And yet when he got the opportunity against England in Stuttgart, he scored with his head. When he got the opportunity against Italy, he scored with his left foot. And Pagliuca in the Italian goal was stunned.
Sheridan. Baresi, onto it comes Houghton. And Houghton with the shot, and it's there! Houghton!
The press box exploded. Fellas who hadn't smiled for 20 years were suddenly, their faces were creased and others were punched in the air. I couldn't get over this. And suddenly O'Cleary tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "How long have you been covering this football?" He said, "Did you not tell me that everybody behaved themselves in the press box?" And that was the measure. It was absolute bedlam. People were, I might even have cheered myself. Shame, shame.
On this occasion, we well deserved to win this one. So I did feel a little bit, for some strange reason, I felt a little bit down. Like, Jesus, it was probably one of those things where I didn't want it to be over. You know, I wanted the game to be over, you can be sure about that. Because I kept thinking the referee, is that another 4 minutes? He said, but I wanted the game to be over. But the atmosphere after was lovely anyway. It was just like one big party for the Irish fans, for the Irish people, and for them, I think it was you know, a dream come true.
History has been made in the Giants Stadium. The Republic of Ireland have beaten Italy for the